Is your team ready to soar to new heights? At CTL Africa Leadership, we specialize in transforming potential into performance. Whether it's mastering winning with people, enhancing emotional intelligence, decoding human behavior, or strengthening team leadership, we've got you covered. Dive into personal leadership and elevate your corporate governance standards. Our tailor-made programs are designed to unlock your team's full potential. Don't settle for ordinary. Be extraordinary. Book a discovery call with CTL Africa today, and let's design a development program that transforms your team. Visit our website www.ctlafricaleadership.com. Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are joining us from. My name is Joy Bunsi-Schmutz, and I'm happy to welcome you to the leadership platform powered by CTL Africa Leadership. Thank you for taking the time to invest in yourself. In this space, everybody here is very intentional about their growth. And so thank you for joining us. Today's session will be diving into the timeless principles and lessons from an amazing book, our book of the month, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I cannot wait for us to digest this book and engage together. So before we get started, I just want to encourage you to introduce yourself in the chat. I'm coming to you live from Accra, a very warm evening in Accra. So where are you joining us from? Where are you joining us from? We're happy to have you here. Please introduce yourself and we'll be happy to announce you to the world. So before we get into the session, I just want to encourage you to share the broadcast with your network, with your friends. This is a very important session on financial literacy. I don't know anybody who is not interested in a conversation that revolves around money. So please get connected, share this on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, because we are live on Facebook and YouTube. All right. And then if you are new to this channel, welcome. We encourage you to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that whenever we go live, you can get the prompts. All right, we'll be discussing some concepts like the importance of financial literacy, the difference between assets and liabilities, and why working for money versus making money work. I remember reading this book some years ago, very, very long time. The only thing that I could remember way back was the fact that there's a difference between assets and liabilities. And so today our host, Uncle Sam, will be coming on to share with us and take us through the review of this book. So if you're ready, please just give me a thumbs up in the chat. Let me know that you are ready for this session. I want to just acknowledge our team. Sarah is here all the way from Geneva, and then to the entire CTL crew. Thank you so much for always the hard work you put into bringing the show to the world. All right, so I'm going to introduce our host. He needs no introduction, people. This is a man who has borne the vision for CTL, trying to bring value to people, because when the leader grows, everyone benefits. So Uncle Sam needs no introduction. So I just want to welcome him. And Uncle Sam, welcome to your platform as you take us through Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Thank you so very much, Joy. Thank you, Sarah. And thank you to the whole team who makes things happen. We thank you so very much. And for all of you who make the time every Saturday evening to join us on this platform, without you, we'll be feeling very lonely. but thanks that you are all here. So I'm happy, Joy, today to review and share the lessons on Rich Dad Poor Dad. I know you've
Yes.
read it. I know Sarah has read it. I know several of CTL Africa team members have read it. So this is going to be
Mm-hmm.
team. I'm going to start
Yes,
and then
yes,
I'll
yes.
bring you on board, right?
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Take us away.
All right. So Joy, I believe, told you CTL Live to Lead is up on October 4th. If you're joining, please don't go without leaving your contact for registration to Live to Lead 2024 on October 4th. All the roads lead to the UPSA auditorium where we are going to have Live to Lead, the most powerful, motivational, quick takeaways, actionable takeaways leadership conference ever. And you have the lineup of the most powerful public speakers and leaders who would share their stories and share lessons for us. So please come meet John Maxwell, come meet Squami Pianin, come meet Akosia Bami, come meet Lawyer David Dote, and many others, Valerie Burton, and others who will be sharing really powerful lessons for all of us. The whole team will be there, so you are welcome. So, good evening again. This evening, we are on our Leaders Are Readers series, and we are looking at a very popular book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. This book, when it was launched in 1997, actually transformed the financial literacy world and the personal financial planning and so on and so forth. This is a very powerful book, and I can tell you, the day I read this book, the very day I read this book, I started quitting my job. I started leaving. Then I had a other book of Robert Kiyosaki's book, Before You Quit Your Job. So I had to read that. Then I started thinking, and I can tell you that even though I'm not rich yet, this book is one of the motivations which has given me the fuel to have the courage to move on from 24 years of corporate life and to start CTL Africa and to keep going, even though the journey has been very difficult, up and downs. So I want to share the learnings from this book. I've read it a couple of times, and for this program, read it again. And I just want to summarize some of the lessons in this book. All right. So let's see what we're going to do today. Quickly, we'll look briefly at the author, the summary of the book. We'll look at 7 key lessons from the book, and I share my 5 big takeaways, and then we will close. All right. So Robert Kiyosaki is Japanese American who has written about 25 books and co-authored other books. The most popular of all his books is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which millions and millions have been sold. And he focuses in his writings, in his blogs, in his videos on financial literacy and helping individuals to be financially independent. And this is an aspiration that all of us would like to have. All of us would like to be financially independent, to have enough money to do the things we want to do, but we don't have the skills, the knowledge, the expertise. And Robert Kiyosaki has brought this book, and very simple to read, with practical illustrations that enables us to learn. So this is about him. He's founder of Rich Dad Global, and Rich Dad Company. And if you go on the site, he has a lot of resources that can help you to manage your personal finances. There are other books he has which are also on business financial management. So that is Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. All right. Now, we heralded this workshop with these quotes from Robert. Workers work hard enough to not be fired, and owners pay just enough so that workers won't quit. Now, when I read this, I remember former President John Ajikun Kufuor, who says the, the government or the companies or government pretends to be paying and the workers pretend to be working. Now, when we at work, there's a chicken and egg situation as to whether we should pay people more so that they can work, or we should let them work and produce before we pay them. Now, businesses are not in the business of just sharing money. They are in the business of making profit. So the businessman is always calculating how much is going out, how much is coming in. And you, the worker who is going to work, you are looking at your own thousands of expenses. Recently, we visited a client who told us a story about one employee who came to him and asked for the promotion. So, okay, tell me why you needed a promotion. And the reason was that, well, my father and my mother are both old and they are having lots of medical challenges, and I'm the one taking care of all of them. And I have this and that and that and that. And that's the reason I need a raise. Obviously, that doesn't wash. I mean, if you're going to bring all your personal problems to the organization and the organization is going to look at that to pay you, nothing is going to work. But that is the mentality of workers. We want to be paid more, but the employers also prefer to minimize their wages. That is why when things go bad, quickly the first area to touch is how many staff can we lay off. So workers work hard enough so they will not be fired, so they can keep their salary, so you can maintain your standard of living and so on and so forth. But the business owner is also making sure that he's not paying too much. I remember when I was in corporate, I had a CEO, and when he was recruiting people, he will ask you, how much do you want to be paid? And very often people will look at their condition and they will say a certain amount. Then say, okay, all right, we'll pay you that. So he made a lot of them. He will bring the CV to the HR and say, well, recruit this person. This is what he wants to be paid. So this is just negotiate around this amount. Now, over a short period, we found that there were so many discrepancies. Some people were asking for more and some people were asking for less. And with the HR then realized that no, it's destabilizing the skill system. So we had a meeting with our boss and we're saying, look, there seems to be a problem. Next time you are talking to people, just leave the salary. They will discuss the salary within the salary scales, because these people, some people you have given very low amount, others you have given very high amount. And his explanation was, but that's what they asked. And he says, so you want to tell me if I go to the market and I have $100 to spend and the seller says the thing is $50, you want me to say, well, I came with $100, so I'll pay the $100? I don't understand you people. This salary scale where you've put a salary band is not right. But that's how organizations sometimes, handle these issues. But you are in the middle as a worker and you are waiting for a decision to be made on your head. You have no idea what will be done. whether you'll be fired or not. All right. Then the other quote that we looked at, because this is setting the pace for what we're going to learn. The single most powerful asset we all have is our mind. If trained well, it can create enormous wealth in what seems to be an instant. Now, I tell people all the time, God never created money. Money is a creation of human beings. We created money. And the people who created money used their mind. And so if you don't understand money, or if your mind is not properly tuned, for example, those of us who have bought into the idea that money is evil, money is bad, the rich people are wicked. When you have such mindset about money, it is difficult for you to attract money. Your mind is a very powerful resource that God has given to us. It can help us to advance and improve our lives, or it can bring you misery. But if you train your mind well to understand money, to understand how the world works, you will be able to create enough wealth. Now, the reason we have so much resources in Africa and we are still poor is because we have not learned the art of money and how money is made. So we sit on gold, like our current president said, yet so accommodating, that we are sitting on gold, but we are hungry. Why are we sitting on gold and we are hungry? It's just the mind. What is in our mind is what is making us poor. And a story is told of when the colonialists came into Zimbabwe and people had gold and silver and diamonds that they, when they do their mud houses, they just use the gold and silver and diamond and they put it on the wall. And the white people came and said, "What is this? Oh, this is gold, this is diamond." And you just put it on the walls like this. They didn't know what to do with that, so they just used it to decorate the mud houses. So the colonialists came in with cigarette toffees and others, and they said, "Oh, if you bring this, we'll give you toffees." And the people tasted the toffees; it was good, and they started collecting the toffees and collecting the gold and the minerals and giving it to the white man because they didn't understand what it meant. That is exactly what Robert is saying here. If we don't train our minds well, we'll throw money out of the window. And many of the time, that is exactly what we are doing. And you can see that there's no critical mass of people in Africa who know how to make money. We have people who've put in positions in ministries of finance, in governance, even people who work in the bank who do not understand money. They're just there as a job because they are not rich. We have a situation in Ghana where we have people who are experts in lotto. We call them the lotto prophets or professionals. And they will show you all the calculations to make how to win a lotto. And then when you ask them, why is the lotto master not rich? They say, oh, the lotto master is just generous. It's not true. They don't know how to win. If you don't know how to win, how do you help others to win? And that is the theme of this book. How do you use your mind to create wealth? And that is what this book is about. If you haven't read it, we encourage you to read it. We are just going to have a quick summary of the lessons in that book. So let me give you the overview of this book. Why is it called title Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Robert is of his life when he was young in the States. I think they have a system where the school you go to depend on where you live. So by some accident, his house happened to be in a neighborhood where he was supposed to attend one of the prestigious schools because his house was within the map of that radius of that school. So he and one of his friends who attended the school, incidentally, were among the poorest in the school. And one day, most of the time, the other kids who were from very affluent families saw them as these poor people. Why are they with us in this school? They were looking down upon them. One day they were going to do some excursions or something like that. And they told them, no, 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 you guys are not coming with us. You guys are poor. We don't go out with poor people. So this young man, at a very tender age, was a bit upset. Why are they not going with us because we are poor? So he went home to his real father, who in the book he called the poor dad. His father was highly educated. I think he's a superintendent in the Ministry of Education. He's a professor, doctorate degree, but he was an employee. He's a public servant, and he didn't have much. Even though he's worked so many years in the public sector, he didn't have much. So he went home and asked his father, Daddy, how do I make money? How do I become rich? And his father was not prepared to talk about that. He says, well, why do you want to be rich? Just go to school, study hard, you get employment. He says, no, but my friends, they are so rich and they don't want to deal with us. Well, short, his father, very well educated, didn't know how to make money. So he just rubbished him off and he said, well, go and see your friend Bob. His father, he's a businessman. He will probably show you how to make money. So he and his friend decided that they were going to go and see his friend's father. His friend's father, who he calls the rich dad, was actually a business person. He didn't have a high education, but he was several businesses. And so they went to see him and asked him, they want to know how to make money. He says, you really want to make money? This is a good idea, because there are so many of my workers who work here and I pay them. They have never asked me how to make money. So if you want to make money, I'm going to show you how to make money. But I'm not going to show you the way they teach you in school. I'm going to show you practically. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you some work to do and I'll pay you. Long story short, they were supposed to work several hours. And at one point they went and they said, no, this is not good. We are children. It's against the law. I said, okay, no problem. You can go home. Over time, they came to understand him. And over time, he took them through the various stages of how to make money and told them that, yes, education is good, but education alone is not enough. It is not enough to just say, go to school, work hard, and get a good job. So he taught them some lessons. The poor dad was very literate. His philosophy, go to school, get education. This rich dad, who is the dad of his friend, was a businessman. He was not rich at that point, but later on he became very rich because he was focused on building businesses. So this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is about two sets of mindsets. The mindset of the poor dad, or the if you like, a poverty mentality, and the mindset of a rich dad, which if you like, call it the abundance mentality, which have different philosophies of life. And let me just quickly share a slide of the philosophies of how the poor dad and the rich dad think differently. For the poor dad, the rich should pay more taxes. But the rich dad's philosophy was different. It says taxes reward those who produce. So they should not pay more taxes. The productive ones should not pay more taxes. Then the poor dad says, study hard so you can find a good company to work for. The rich mindset says, study hard so you can find a good company to buy. So the idea is not to work for a company, the idea is to buy one. And the poor dad says, I'm not rich because I have children. The rich mindset says, I must become rich because I have children. You see, the poor mindset says, it's because of my children, I've paid school fees, I buy this, I buy that, and this, complain about why he has children. And why, because of his children, he's poor. But the rich dad says, because I have children, I have to work hard so that I give them a better position. The poor dad mindset says, don't talk about money around dinner tables. When we are in the house, just like Richard went to his father, ask about money. Please don't talk to me about money. I don't know, go and look for. But in the rich dad's home, they talk about money around the dinner table. All right? The poor dad says, don't take risk. Be careful. This is dangerous. The rich mind says, learn to manage the risk. Life is all about risk. So to say that I don't take risk is actually doesn't make sense. Because when you wake up in the morning, when you take trotro, you're taking risk. When you're dressing, you're taking risk. In fact, even swallowing fufu, our favorite food, it's a very risky venture. I mean, you can be choked with some bone somewhere, and people have had very complicated situations. Life is all about risk. So the poor do not encourage their children to take risk, whereas the rich encourage their children to take risk. In a poor daddy's house, a house is the biggest asset you can own. So all of us are struggling to build a house for ourselves. Well, in Ghana, where the landlords are taking 2 years, 10 years advance, then it makes sense that you can have your own little house somewhere. But the rich man says that a house is the biggest liability you own, because we will explain this as we go along. Then in the poor house, you pay your bills first. Water bill can you pay? Light bill can you pay? The poor says, no, you pay your bill last. Save yourself. Put some money in your savings before you pay your bill. But for most of us, that's what happens. And we'll see how that works. And the mindset of the poor dad is, I will not be rich. In fact, becoming rich is not even a good thing. It's just the rich are very wicked people and they do bad things. So I don't want to even be rich. But the rich dad says, I'm a rich man, and rich people don't do this. That's what they tell their children. You are rich. Rich people don't do this. So this is the mindset, the two mindsets that this book contend with. And we're going to pick out some of the lessons that are learned in this book quickly. All right. Put your thoughts in the chat. Let me see what you are thinking and what you are learning. All right. So I'm going to take 7 key lessons from the book quickly. The first one is focus on assets, not liability. Get financial education. Run your own business. Understand tax code and the legal system. Learn to invent money. Work to learn, not for money, and take financial risk. So these are the 7 lessons. I'm going to go through them quickly for you. These are the 7 lessons I'm picking. There are several other lessons in the book and the skills you need to acquire to be successful, like selling skills. There's huge leadership lessons, leadership as influence in the book. But here we're focusing mainly on the core of the book, which is the personal financial planning. All right. And how you can make money. And money is the Bible doesn't say money is evil. Okay, so we have to read it carefully. If you have enough money, the Bible encourages rich people, is how you get the money and how you use the money that is important. Money answers all things, also the Bible says, even though it also says the love of money, that is when you use negative evil means just to amass wealth for yourself, and you don't think that is where the issue is. So the question about money not being good or money being evil is not even borne out in the Bible. All right. So those of us who read the Bible, don't be the beatitude of blessed are the poor is not talking about poor financially. It's talking about poor in spirit, and that is where you recognize yourself as human who needs this, who don't have energy and strength on your own, and you want to depend on God. That is the kind of poverty the Bible talks about. All right, good. So let's take the lessons quickly. Focus on assets, not liabilities, and that is one of the big lessons here. Okay, and Robert's definition of assets and liability was dramatic when the book came out, because a lot of us knew that, oh, things like buildings, cars, and this and that, these are assets. That's the definition. I studied accounting, and that was hard. We said assets, buildings, properties, cars, whatever, they are assets. And then liabilities are things you owe to somebody that you have to pay. So we are focusing on, building a big house, building a big car, buying a big car, and these are assets. And Robert says, no, that is a wrong definition. And that is what is causing a lot of us not to make money, because we have the wrong concept. He says assets are things that bring money. So if you have a car and it doesn't bring you money, that car is a liability. If you have a house and that house doesn't bring you money, that house is a liability. And come to think about it, you have a car and every month you buy fuel into it, and you drive the car and park at work, and you drive it back home, you alone in that car, and you spend so much money on the fuel. Then something breaks and the workshop, and you fix it. The fitter will take all this thing. You buy oil, you buy this, you buy that into the car. That car is just taking you to work and coming home. And sometimes you have to take salary advance to just fix that car, or even some of it to buy fuel. I've seen some people who don't have a place to sleep, but they've bought the car and they are parking it on the street. And some thieves will come and remove the glasses and so forth, and you have to fix them. That is a liability. Okay, that is a liability. It takes a lot of your time and attention, but it doesn't bring you money. Now, a car can become an asset if it is bringing in money. So that is a critical definition. Anything that brings in money is an asset. Anything that takes away money is a liability. Okay? So if you have a car and when you're going to work, you're using it, for example, as an Uber or a taxi, and you can pick some people who are standing by the roadside going to the same direction, and you take them to work. And when you close from work, you can pick some people and you can use that car to drive around. Or better still, when you have that car, you register it as an Uber. Somebody is driving it for you. It will take you and drop you at your work. The time that you are at work, all the 8-9 hours you are at work, that driver will use it as an Uber and bring you some money. That car is an asset. All right. So he says that rich people acquire assets. The poor and the middle class acquire liabilities that they think are assets. So a lot of young people, especially young girls these days, you have a sugar daddy, and then the first thing they're asking is they want an iPhone. An iPhone, I don't know how much it costs because I don't have an iPhone. I use Huawei. But they want to spend so much, buy an iPhone. Okay? So they'll buy an iPhone for you. They'll buy Samsung for you. They'll buy all the big phones, nice, beautiful phones for you. And then you go and see another or the same sugar daddy or boyfriend or whatever to buy credit and buy this for you. Whereas you could have asked for something that you can invest. You could even ask your boyfriend to buy treasury bills for you, because the 15,000 or so. I don't know how much iPhones cost now. That you used to buy that iPhone, you can invest in treasury bills. In Ghana, treasury bills are 20%, 30% interest, and that will be bringing in money. But you've spent it on on an iPhone. And what do? You're on TikTok, you're on this thing, and you have to buy credit and you buy data, and that is taking money away. That is a liability. It's not an asset. And that is why you are not going to be rich. Okay? Because everybody is buying iPhone and this thing and then nice big phones. You too, you want to buy. Young man, because everybody is driving and they're taking the young girls around, you too, you want to buy a car. When you could put that money into some other investment that will bring you some more money. That is the definition. That is what is focused on acquiring asset. And an asset is something that brings in money. And the poor, they focus on liabilities, which is something that takes out money from their pockets. So that's the first big lesson there. The second big lesson is that to become rich, we need financial education. Kiyosaki says that the only way to get rich is to become financially literate. And this is one area where our educational system has woefully failed us. Because most of the people who are teaching us in our schools are actually struggling. I mean, the teachers are probably the poorest of all professions, because we tell them that their reward is in heaven. And for a very long time, a lot of people who could not pass to go to the university go to the training colleges. And so they come and then they come and teach. Teaching profession is honorable. It's a good thing. But the teachers have not been trained on how to make money. So there's no way the teachers are going to teach us how to make money, because if they know how to make money, most of them will not be in the classroom, because that's it. Or if they're in the classroom, they'll be doing other things that Kiyosaki said that will make them rich. A few of them do that. So the financial literacy, understanding investments, understanding debit and credit, understanding expenses, understanding what is an asset, understand what is a liability, understanding savings, and so on. Those things are very important, and knowing where to put your money. Okay, so investing in financial education, paying for financial education is very, very, very important. Understanding how you manage money, how you manage risk, and so on and so forth. I mean, many of us, we lose a lot of money. Me, as a lawyer and have worked in the bank for several years, I put money in some investments that were crazy, like men's gold, because, we're following the returns and so on and so forth. But if you understood it well, you would invest differently. So that is why he says we should train our minds, because the mind is a powerful asset. And if we train it well, financially literate, we'll be able to make a lot of money. All right. So that's the second lesson. You can read more. All right. So the next one is run your own business. According to Kiyosaki, the rich acquire assets and make money work for them. They don't work for other people. Now, come to think about it. The person who has set up the business and is employing 50 people, and you who is working among one of the 50, who do you think will be richer? The work that you do. Very recently, I learned that as an employee, for you to be very productive, you should be producing at least 6 times what you are paid in order for you to be able to come back and say you want an increment. So if you're working and you're not producing 2, 3, 4 times your salary, you're not helpful to the organization, and the owner of the business may probably ask you to go home, because you'll be wasting money. If what you're producing is less than what they're paying you, you are not helping the organization. But when you work for people, you are working for a salary. But when you're doing your business, you're investing in your future and returns and working towards your financial independence. So Kiyosaki advises that even if you are an employee, look for vehicles, assets, put your salary into some other vehicles, buy what is it called? This aboboya, buy an aboboya, give it to somebody to go around and collect some rubbish for you. Buy a taxi, buy a trotro, and earn what you call passive income. Put your money in some businesses that you don't have to be there yourself to manage. There are some that you have to be there. Over time, you will be able to set up different businesses that will bring you money instead of you being there. That is what he means by owning your business. And that takes us to the other lesson we will come and learn, which is let your money work for you instead of you working for your money. Okay? As an employee, you are just working for money, and at the end of the month, you want to be paid a salary and you're fighting for increment and so on. Now, the fourth thing that he talks about is to understand how the tax system works. Now, he says that if the tax on your salary is 35%, and in Ghana, I think it starts from 25, the higher when you are in a higher bracket, you are paying as much as 35%. Some people are paying 40%. He says what that means is that the first 40 cedis of your 100 cedis earning, your first 40% of your time that you work, you are working for the government. Why? Because before your salary is paid, your company will first take the tax and then they will give you the balance. So basically, the first part of your money goes to pay the government. But when you have a business, it is the opposite. When you're running a business, you pay your tax after you have taken out all your expenses, including the food you eat, the salary, the clothes you wear, the rent you pay, and everything. You put all into your P&L account. And it is the balance that the tax man will come and say, how much profit did you make? And then you yourself determine the profit you make. And you say, I made this profit. And then your tax is calculated on the profit. But if you are an employee, your salary is the base on which the tax is calculated. So the government takes the tax before you think about your rent, before you think about your transport, before you think about, but if you're running a business, your car can be a business asset. All the fuel you buy into your car is tax deductible. The depreciation of the car, the repairs of the car, all that goes into the business. And you take all that out before you calculate your tax. So you see that the tax system is favorable to those who run businesses. In fact, there are so many people who run businesses in Aboso, Kind, in other markets who don't pay any tax at all because the system doesn't know how to compute their taxes. But because you are an employee, the company is obliged to put you on the social security, and then therefore your tax is supposed to be paid. That is where there is a big learning from. We have to learn how to optimize our tax. In fact, in the Ghana tax law, even for employees, if you file your returns, there are a number of tax benefits. If you have children in school, if you have your old man you are taking care of, you can deduct all those things, but we don't know. So we allow our taxes to be taken and we don't get it back. So he says you should be able to understand how the legal system works to be able to make money. All right? Learn to invent money. Okay? Do not work for money. Let money work for you. That is a big, big, big idea. And he says that rich people, whilst they are sleeping, their money is working for them. And what does that mean? If you put your money under your pillow, if you put your money in a savings account, or even some people go to put in their current account. When you put it in the current account, the last time I had some money in some current account that I was not, before I realized they have deducted the commissions, and the balance that was there was finished, and they closed the account. But if you know how money works, you will put your money in an asset that earns money when you are sleeping. So if you build a two-bedroom house and you give it out for rent, your money is working for you. If you put your money in a treasury bill, right, by the time you are sleeping, that money is working for you. If you buy shares from the stock exchange, when you are sleeping, that money is working for you. If you put your money in a trotro, you are not the driver. That driver and the mate, and the driver and his mate, I haven't mentioned anybody's name, they will be working for you, and you'll be sleeping. At the end of the day, they'll bring you money. That is passive income. Okay, so learn how to invent money. God did not create money. Money is created by man. So if there's so many people, they will come to me and say they need some money to do this, and I say, how do you want to make this money? They don't even know how they are going to make the money. They don't understand. And if you don't understand how to make money, even if you are given a room full of cash, that money will disappear. And that is why a lot of children of rich people, after their parents are dead, few years after, you find them on the street as paupers, because they didn't learn how to make money, and the parents didn't teach them how to make money, and they just gave them money. That will not help. So businesses, invest your money in businesses that don't require your active supervision, or rental property that gives you income, or some investments, as I've said, that will give you dividend, like shares. That is how you let your money work for you. So don't just keep the money somewhere. So I have some money. My friends say they don't have money, so I've given it to them for free. Put that money in a treasury bill. The least you can do is to put it in a savings account. Okay? All right. Then the sixth one is work to learn. Don't work for money. A lot of us, a lot of especially young people today, we're just looking for work because of money. It's true, I can understand. You have to eat, you have to wear. And these days, with all the demands and social media and so on and so forth, the pressure is high. But what Kiyosaki was taught by Rich Dad when he and his friend went to work for him was that at a point he says, well, I'm not going to pay you anything. I want you to work for me for free. Because as you work for me, you understand how the business works. A lot of us don't volunteer. Today I was very happy as we're preparing for Live to Lead. We had several young men and women, about I think 15 or 20 of them, who have volunteered to come and help us organize Live to Lead. And some of them have helped us 2-3 years running. And they know, they understand by volunteering and working with us to do this conference, they understand how conferences are done. Very soon they'll be running their own conferences. So do not look for the money. Look for the experience. As you are working, I tell my workers all the time, look, it's not the money I pay you here is not enough, but the work you do, the experience you acquire here. If you go to any big company, you're going to apply that experience there. So work, focus on the learnings. That's why when you are at work, don't just focus on the small work. Some people give you some work to do and you say, no, that's not my work. Oh, no, that's not my work. You leave it. That's not your work. If you take up that challenge, somebody is not at work and you give that challenge, you would be able to acquire a lot of experience. You will. I remember when I was in corporate life, I was a lawyer. But whenever the financial people are doing their financial report, I would go to them, I would take the draft and I'll read through the financial reports for them. And then I will help them correct some of the mistakes. I will try to read the numbers. So today, sitting on the board of any organization or the boards that I sit on, I'm able to read the financial reports. That is a skill that if I just stuck to my legal work, I would not have understood. Okay, so this mindset shift, direct people from aspiring for well-paying job to becoming entrepreneurs, because you want to understand the business. Go work for the people, understand the business so that you can build your own business. All right. The lesson number 7 is take financial risk. Robert explains that job security is different from financial security. A lot of us are working in organizations, are working on jobs that are boring, that we don't like. We wake up in the morning, we have bosses that are pains in our ass, and yet we are afraid to quit because we don't know what to do. So we are caught into the what Robert calls the rat race. We wake up in the morning, go to the same work that we don't like, that we've been doing the same work for 10 years, 20 years, and every year we fight and they give you 3%, 4%, 5% salary increment. And then you go and fight for a little bonus, and then you are happy for a season, for a short while, and then you have to go back to the same work, to the same boss, to the same work environment that you really hate, but you are not prepared to take a risk because you are afraid that tomorrow, what am I going to eat? I remember when I made a decision, I was to leave the bank at age 52 when I was leaving the bank. I mean, I had very well paid position and in the bank as group general counsel. Nobody was asking me to go away. But after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, I started thinking, what can I do? And for 3 years, I started studying, leadership, because I decided that, well, that is one area that we can solve problems, because that's one of the lessons also in the book. The bigger the problems you solve, the richer you become. So I realized that leadership is an area where we needed to do some work. So when I was leaving, my colleagues were like, but Sam, in fact, even my CEO then and my board chairman, I remember my CEO was asking me, but Sam, where are you going? And when I said, well, I'm going to do leadership, um, he says, but Sam, be serious. He thought that I was not serious. But why at 52 will you leave? Nobody is asking you. The group chairman and the CEO called me and said, nobody is asking you to leave this organization. We will need you here and so forth. And I said, no. Now, I could have chosen to stay there till I was 60. I heard that, and after I've negotiated and left, got to a point when the COVID came and everything was in a crisis. The organization had to let so many of my colleagues that I left there, they had to leave, and they didn't leave on very good packages. Okay, you can be fired at any time on that job. Look at what happened into the financial crisis. People were working in a bank and they felt very stable. They're the ones who were giving the biggest donations in funerals. Overnight, all of them were home. Several banks collapsed and they came home. Things can change in where you consider to be a more secure place. Take some risk, put some money in some investment, go to some village and bring some charcoal. I have a good friend. She's a university graduate. She orders charcoal from the north, from different places, sells charcoal, goes to the big market, look for those who are selling the charcoal. And she's making a lot of money. Taking risk. That is what would change your financial position. Okay, so he says in the real world, the smartest people are people who make mistakes and learn. In school, the smartest people don't make any mistakes. And that's how we were taught in school. If you made a mistake, you had a cane on your back. In fact, in my days, we had what you call mental. And the teacher will call and give the 10 questions. If you got 5 wrong, you got 5 lashes. You were not allowed to make mistakes. They used the green pen to mark you correct and red pen to mark you wrong. You are not allowed in school to make mistakes. And that mentality we bring into the world, and that is how we are not able to take risk. Kiyosaki says that mentality will not help you. Okay? It will not help you. All right. So those are the 7 key lessons that I picked from the book that I wanted to share. But let me just, in summary, give you my top big takeaway statements from the book. Number 1, the rich don't work for money, only the poor do. The rich people, money works for them. They've put their money in so many places and they are playing golf, they are flying around in Dubai and other places and enjoying themselves, and they are just asking, how much money have you made? Okay, put it in this bank, put it here. Money is working for them. Number 2, rich people acquire assets, poor people acquire liabilities. Your house is not an asset, it's a liability. When I left work, where our office is now, before I read Rich Dad, I was thinking of, building this big house where I'm coming to live with my family. I had 5 kids and so forth. I'm coming to live here. Then I realized that, no, I had another house in Bawi. So I told my family, we will live in Bawi because for the several years we were out of Ghana, we could not get anybody to rent that house in Bawi. But if I had that house in East Legon, I would have rented it for a lot of money. Now I have a house in East Legon, and the family wants to come and live in East Legon because they don't want to live in that village. I said, no, because if we live in East Legon, we leave this house in Bawi and it's becoming a liability. So let me use this place as the office to do the business, where we can do some financial accounting around it, and rent out some of the rooms as a short stay for others. This is still a big battle that I'm battling in my house because, I brought them from Lome, where we're living in a big house paid by the company and everything. And so, in fact, they told me that I've reduced their standard of living by taking them from the city in Lome to go and live in Bawi. But that is the mindset. I had to insist because I wanted them to understand that we will be losing money just by just living here, because every day you have to furnish and repair and do things. So, guys, let assets work for you. Number 3, it doesn't matter how much money you make, but how much you save. So how much do you save of your money? I can tell you, when I was working in corporate life, when you're making the deductions, I think the total deduction was 25, it was 12.5%. I told the HR to make 25% and put it in the corporate pension plan. And when I got out, that money had, accumulated a bit. So it is not how much you earn, it is how much you save out of the money you earn. I've seen a lot of people who earn very little, but they have been able to save. Sometimes I get embarrassed with some people who came to me and told me, boss, I've saved so much, I need a little more to add to go and buy land. And I said, you have saved this money? Me, at that time, I was earning so much, I didn't have that amount of money in my savings because I didn't understand that I needed to save. Financial aptitude is what you do with the money you earn. So knowing what you do with money, if you're throwing money around just like that, that is a big problem. Okay, so learn how to use your money. And the final take is, our single most important asset is our mind. How are you thinking? What is your thought about money? What are your ideas about money? And that is my presentation. The book Rich Dad Poor Dad helps us to understand how to plan our finances. It says we should learn to understand what is assets and what is liabilities, and we should invest in assets. Build and run your own business instead of working for others. Take risk, calculated risk, that will make you more money instead of feeling secure in a job that doesn't pay you much and that gives you false security. Your mind is the biggest asset. And my final take is this quote from the book. It is not what you say out of your mouth that determines your life. It is what you whisper to yourself that has most power. What are you saying to yourself? As you listen to me, what are you saying to yourself? Are you saying, well, this is good, but yeah, you see, if I leave, where am I going to get the money? This, and that's a problem. People think that they need money to make money. You don't need money to make money because God didn't create money. You need ideas to make money. And there's a lot of money sitting out there waiting for good ideas. The reason we are not rich is we haven't found the good ideas that will make us money. So say to yourself, I want to be rich and I want to take the steps and take the risk to acquire assets that will make me rich. That is the philosophy that the book Rich Dad Poor Dad teaches us. Please get the book and read more. Thank you very much, Joy. That is my presentation for now.
All right. Thank you so much, Uncle Sam, for sharing. There's so many comments and questions coming in, but we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to just dive into some of the learning, some of the questions. And please, if you do have some questions, just begin to put them in the comment section. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be back.
Get ready for a transformational experience at Live to Lead Ghana 2024. On October 4th, join Ghana's most influential leaders for a day that will renew your mind and change your life. John C. Maxwell will guide you on cultivating an abundance mindset. Kwame Penim will reveal how visionary leadership can drive profound societal and organizational transformation. Self-leadership with Olympian Shantelo, be empowered by her story of resilience. To business growth strategies with Brandon Dorsing and team dynamics with Malcolm Gladwell. You gain powerful insights to fuel your success. Don't miss Valerie Burton's energy renewal techniques and Akosia Bami's mindset revolution for deep personal and professional change. David Ofosudote, a reputable lawyer with the fifth largest law firm in Africa, will be speaking on transformation as a corporate strategy. Join us, transform your mindset and lead for change. Register now at livetoleadghana.com.
Okay, welcome back, everyone, and thank you for staying through to this time. And don't go away because just the last few minutes of this session is going to really deepen the conversation. Uncle Sam, thank you so much. This was very practical. I mean, you took a bold move, literally. You took a bold move after reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. And for me, some of my takeaways, and just to also remind everyone that it's about the actions. We can talk all day about this, but if you don't take the first action, I mean, there's no way you're going to get to financial freedom. For me, the first lesson for me that was so huge for me was the mindset and the way mindset reflects in our language. If you look at, there were a lot of juxtapositions and similarities he posed between the two dads. And one of the things that even caught my attention was that his rich dad, who was at that time the poor dad, would say that broke is different from poor. So he made it a
Absolutely.
conscious effort not to even use words that had even spiritual implication on him, because the moment you begin to say things to yourself that I'm poor, I'm not rich, I think that psychologically begins to work in your mind how you even see opportunities. Sometimes something can be in front of you. I've spoken to a lot of people who sometimes need help, and the opportunities are right in front of them, but because their mindsets keep saying, I'm not poor, I don't have the money, I'm poor, I'm disadvantaged, They never see what is right in front of them. So I found it a very powerful nugget that even when you don't have money in your pockets, make sure that your words are speaking about your future, your potential, who you are, the richness of your ideas. They are going to turn into wealth pretty soon. And if you're able to put the right strategies together, I think that will help. And just to also emphasize on the scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset. And I think John Maxwell will be speaking about that during the Live to Lead conference. So please come and listen to him on that. So it's just talking about the same point about how you see what you get in your hands. And Uncle Sam, you were talking about even when people are making thousands or 10,000s or 100,000s, sometimes they begin to increase their spend expenditure. So I remember there was one session I attended, and to illustrate the point, the facilitator would use a small sieve. He pours water into it, so that shows the size of your income and your expenditure. By the time you go to the CEO's salary, he literally picked a laundry basket. That's where the size of the holes that the water goes through. So bigger expenditure while our income increases. So we never get to see the benefit of our growth in our money. So this all points to the mindset and how to change our mindset with regards to finances. And the second biggest lesson for me was how these young boys at their age were so curious, about money. And literally, I don't know if it was I think it was the poor dad, or no, it was the rich dad who said, I think they wanted to make money. Then he asked them, oh, how do I make money? And they said, oh, yeah, you can make money. I can't remember the exact line, but then he and his friend decided that they'll become business partners. And
Yes.
then they went around the neighborhood asking for toothpaste tubes. And
And they
then,
wanted
so
to
I
create
was reading it,
wanted to create the
they,
coins.
literally, because they've been told you can make money. So they were
Yeah.
literally producing the nickels. And for me, it struck me at how, when you start little, when you even tell a young child that this is the way to go, literally, can you imagine they started a whole manufacturing company
Yes, in the
because they
garage of
wanted to
their father.
create
By the time
money?
they came, they
The
split
whole
everything
place
all
was a
over the
mess.
place.
Exactly. So I think that maybe if you didn't get it very early, you can invest into your children, you can invest into the young ones around you. People are gifting this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, to their 9-year-olds. If your child can read, I think that this would be the best time for you to give them some practical financial literacy. And even as an adult, where are you getting your information from on financial literacy? That's one of
Yeah.
the biggest things that's happening. And for me, I think that just listening to some podcasts and, always updating yourself on some of these strategies and taxes. I mean, we had recently in the news, the founder of Meta, Facebook, took a loan to purchase a house. And everybody was like, why are the rich people taking loans to purchase a house? Because they
Yeah.
understand how the money works in their system.
Because
Because
Robert has another book, Other People's Money, OPM. That's the title of that book. How to use other people's money to make money. So you don't have to have your own money, Joy. You have to, one of the things
yeah.
I did when I did when I had my investments in some dollars and I needed some cedis. I could have just converted the dollars to cedis. I said no. I went to the
Mm,
bank. I said use my dollars as cash collateral and give me some cedis as a loan. And by the time I'm paying back the loan, the CD has depreciated. So the conversion
and the
rate
dollars
has covered the
appreciated.
interest.
Yep.
And I still had my dollars. So you have to be creative. If you don't know some of
Savvy.
these things, you think that you need your own cash. No, you can use
Mm,
other people's money to
wow.
make money and pay them back. Yeah. Good, good, good. And I
Amazing.
like
Amazing.
the dimensions you are bringing, which are very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
People
don't know,
have people
Sarah
have
has
some
anything
very
or
good
some questions
strategies.
or more.
Yes. Yes. Let me bring Sarah on. Hello, Sarah.
Hey, hi everyone. How are you today? Great presentation.
We're good.
Well,
We're
good.
good.
How is
Yes, yes.
Geneva?
Great, great. Very insightful. And my biggest takeaway is on the taxes part because right now I can see I'm paying too much taxes. I'm part of the
Hmm.
middle
Mm-hmm.
income group. So this is one of the biggest takeaway that I have to sit and really see how I can really work out my taxes so I can pay less and become rich. And as
Yes.
I told you guys in the green room before we got onto the call, I've told you that I've set a goal. 3 years from now, I have to be rich.
Hmm.
And
So
I can see Natalia
that you
says,
can send us some money in Ghana.
exactly. Is saying that, oh, yes, I am rich. So, Natalia, I am with you. Both of us are rich and
Hmm.
we're going to hit the mark. So, I've said
Yeah.
that. And for me, the questions, I mean, the way the book was structured, at the end, you have a reflective side and the questions that he asked. So, I have made a document, compiled all the documents, and that is going to be my working document between now and
Yeah.
3 years. I'm really going to use that as my cheat sheet or checklist to be
Wow.
doing this. So
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Lovely. Lovely. I'll just pick a few comments that are coming in. So let me take this from. Okay, so of course, Natalia. She was given a lot of commendations as we were going. Preparation is key as situations can change. And then the part about risk, Uncle Sam, you were just so spot on about risk. Natalia says our entire life is a big risk. And I read a book
Yes.
recently from Ben Carson about risk. Ben Carson did a lot of surgeries, very, very risky
Yes.
ones. So he has a book on that. And he says even when you sleep, do you know how many people have died by just laying on their bed compared to going
Yes.
out there and doing business? It's a very interesting book. Then Ebenezer, coming all the way from France, says, I've taken some rare risk on my life's journey and have never regretted doing so because all um something to my journey. Okay, thank you,
Ensured,
Mr. Yi, for
all ensured.
ensured. Oh, okay, because all ensured to my advantage. Okay, thank you for putting that in. Kwabena also says, very important topic, very very important topic. Then Bismarck, uh, our Lenga says, this is really a very rich and insightful commentary on the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Thank you, Uncle Sam. I cannot agree more with that. And then Reverend Ayuku also says, excellent presentation, Dr. Sam. Uncle Sam, I'm going to take the title.
Well, now that I've been conferred, I would start calling myself Dr. Sam.
Yeah, he says his take home is you don't need money to make money. You just need ideas to make money. Invest in assets instead of liabilities. I'm really rethinking that statement, the assets and liabilities.
Yes.
So let me see if I'll get any questions so far. Okay,
Yeah,
so I think it's still
whilst you're
all,
looking for the questions, I have a question for Uncle
yeah,
Sam.
okay.
Uncle Sam, you said that the house or the buildings that we live in is a liability. Yes, it is a liability. But what if, this is just a hypothesis, what if I start paying rent for the house that I live in? Is that going to be an asset or a liability?
Oh, you're paying rent to who? To yourself?
Myself.
Well, I'm just trying to see how you live. You pay
Hmm,
rent to yourself. Okay.
Yes.
hmm,
So I think the better idea, and sometimes, especially in Ghana, we have a lot of big houses. So I think, I mean, I learned this lesson very late. So, in fact, all my houses that I built, if I knew this, I would not have built big houses. I would have built them different. Because when I travel to the UK and I see all these small, small, big, small houses, they say 3-bedroom house, and you have to squeeze yourself to go inside. I didn't understand. But now I understand. So maybe what you can do is that you can bring some people to come and live with you and pay you rent. So if you
Okay.
have 3 bedrooms, just rent one or two out. You remember
Okay.
when we were in school in the UK, we had a house, and each room is rented, and we have a shared kitchen and a shared hall and a
Exactly.
shared this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we want to own everything. But if
We want our privacy,
yeah, you
but
want
it's
your
a cost.
privacy, but that is where you are spending the money. So maybe partition a bit, cut up a
Mhm.
bit, and what? Where are you going to sleep? One small bed, one small bathroom, one small kitchen table, and then the rest allow others to share and pay rent. In fact, this is what I'm doing in the building here where we have CTL. We have our office in here where we're using it as an office, and when we do our accounting for CTL, because the building belongs to me, when we do our accounting for CTL, we compute rent and put it on the CTL accounts.
Mhm.
So CTL pays rent.
Of
Although
course.
I don't get the money, but at least it reduces my tax for accounting purposes. Okay.
Mm.
And then we have some of the rooms that we furnished, and people come in and stay here. And we have enough space. We are giving some out for rent for people to come and also sit and work as workspace, work with us. I mean, we have a
Yeah.
lot of desk here, so we say people can come and work with us, and they pay something small for. So we should
Yeah.
find ways of maximizing whatever
Maximizing.
asset we have. I tell people, if you have a car, don't go and park the car the whole day, buy fuel into it. Register it as an Uber. When you close from work, do some Uber before you go home. It will cover your fuel, and then you are saving some money. So, and I know a lot of people also who are working who have opened up saloons, and they're not running it, but they've given it to some people. Some people have barber shops that they
Yeah.
have got some barbers that are doing the barbering, and they're getting some passive income. So
Yeah.
you can still keep your salary until your passive income is able to take care of your expenses. Then you can move on and now run your own business fully. So don't just
Yeah.
quit, leave because you heard us say run your own business, then you leave your job. No, before you leave your
Yes.
job, read the second book of Robert Kiyosaki. The title is Before You Quit Your Job.
Yeah.
So that means you
Mm.
have to know
Mm.
before.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. But paying yourself rent, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's savings. That could be savings, that could be savings. Because
yeah,
if I was renting
yeah,
a place, I'll be paying anyway. So why don't I put that
yeah.
money as savings
Yeah,
to
you
the
can
side?
put that money aside as a sinking
Yeah,
fund and save it
yeah.
Yeah.
so that you can use it to repair the house. But eventually, when the house is going down, you have to paint it and
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry,
fix some
Natalia is
things.
coming to join me, so I'll be getting some money from her.
Yeah, Natalia, thank you so much. You are very active,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we appreciate you. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Thank you. Mommy Dukwa Otabel is sharing her takeaway, and I just encourage everybody, just put what are you taking away with you today. She said, very insightful session today. My biggest takeaway is that your most single asset is your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
mhm.
mind blowing. Thank
Indeed.
you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing.
Indeed.
Okay. And Livingstone, let me read Livingstone's comment as well. Says, thank you so much, Uncle Sam. Financial literacy is a necessary skill for well-being. Because a lot of the
Yeah.
blood pressure is tied to
Mm-hmm.
financial issues. So
Exactly.
we have to endeavor. And in Africa, in Ghana, like, we're trying to live, every time my husband says it, we try to live above our means in
Yeah.
ways that even those in who have money or people who can afford it, they are probably using the bus because our systems don't work as much. So
Yeah.
I think that this is a wake up call for everyone in terms of your savings, in terms of just reigniting that business passion that you had and you've shelved. Just think about how you can even start small with that, and then get financial education, and then focus on assets versus liability. I think
Mm-hmm.
next
Yeah.
time we should get maybe a tax expert on this show to
Oh,
maybe go
actually,
through the
if you
legal.
go
Yeah.
if you go back onto our YouTube, If you go
All
back
right.
into the YouTube on the leadership platform, we've had the best tax person in this country who
Wow.
have done presentation. We have had 2 or 3 presentation on tax. We have also
Unpack.
had 2 or 3 presentation by Dr. Susie on investments. So you can go
Okay.
back onto some of our YouTube leadership platform presentations if you want to know what to invest in and so on and so forth. Look for Dr. Susie's presentation. What's the
Okay.
man's name? Oh, I've forgotten his name. But there are some tax presentations, but we can bring them back
Okay.
to come and share for us. But Joy, there's something that you mentioned about the
Mm,
expenses, the way we live our lives. You see, a lot of the time we are trying to please people. So there is a
mm,
funeral and they say everybody should buy some clothes. I don't do that. There is this idea of what do they call it? 1 week. If it is, if it's me to organize a funeral, I won't organize 1 week. If the funeral is not close to me, if you don't see me in your 1 week, it's fine. I'm not coming. Because why do you do 1 week? Like then they spend a lot of money, and then there is a
and
May
time.
funeral is coming again. So we spend quite a lot of money that, and then you should learn how to manage your expenses. It's very, very important. Even the domestic expenses, having a budget, and so on and so forth, so that you can save. One thing that I also want to recommend, a book that I want to recommend, The Richest Man in
Man in
Babylon.
Babylon.
Yeah.
For all those on the call, please look for that little book, The Richest Man in Babylon. It will teach you the basis on how to manage also your money in terms of your expenses. And it says that whatever money you get, pay yourself first. In other words, put some money aside. So when you get your salary, how much do you save? Put some money aside that and that's what as I said, I did. So for a very long time, 25% of myself, because I had a lot of siblings to take care of. I used to pay fees and so on and so forth. And then other people from my village that I need to take care of. So when the money comes into my hand and I have the money and somebody asks me, where is that I need something, I cannot say no. I don't know how to say no. So what I did is tell the HR, take 12.5%, add it to the contribution of the 12.5%. So it was 25%. So I operated my budget on the 75% of my salary. Then automatically I had a savings of 25% somewhere. If you cannot manage it, let your HR deduct it and put it in your tier 3 or tier 2 pension fund for you. Today I was looking at my tier 2 pension fund, and it's grown. It's quite a lot of money. I've for the last how many years, because I was looking at it because November I'll be officially on pension. So I was looking at it. But the idea that when you put little money aside over a long period of time, it multiplies is very important. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be big amounts. You can just be putting aside 100, and buy treasury bills and so on and so
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah, I
Okay.
understand.
So
Yeah. The way I do mine is that, okay, when I do get my 100%, I say 50 is for rent and everything that I need to spend. 50% goes there. Then the 20% is for investment. Another 20% is for savings. And then
charity.
the 10% is for my tithe or any charity that I support. Okay.
Yeah.
So 50,
Yeah.
20, 20, 10. Just that way. And
Yeah.
make sure you just live within the 50.
Yes. You won't die,
You won't die.
and stop buying
I'm
the
not dead yet.
iPhones and buying all the gadgets that you don't need. And there's so many, the women clothes, plenty bags, all those things. They are investment. They are liabilities that you are piling
Abilities.
on yourself. Very soon you're going to throw all of them away. Money is gone.
And,
So thank
and
you
you
very
need
much.
a bigger space to keep them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then we say you need 2 bedroom.
Yeah.
One of
Yeah.
them is full of bags and shoes.
I can
All
see the
And
right.
some
question.
before,
There's a question from
okay,
Tessa
Sarah.
Junior. Yeah, there's a question from Tessa Junior saying, would you recommend savings account in Ghana where SMS alert charges for a month is more than the interest the bank pays?
Well, you have to check what your, a lot of us don't check our bank charges. So check
We
your
don't
bank
check.
charges.
But the question is that
In
can
principle,
the
your
SMS,
savings account, there should not be more than the commissions that they are paying on your savings account. So if they're charging you more than the commission they are putting, move your money to another bank. Ask the bank. So, but savings is the most minimum. Move that money from that savings account and buy treasury bills for a status. Okay. And when you build up the T bills over time, then you can also buy shares. Okay. So diversify, put some of the money in shares. There are other funds, there are some of the pension funds, they have some other products. Unfortunately, in Ghana, because of the way the financial crisis happened, we a lot of people lost money, so we are not sure where to put money these days. But you can be sure that at least the government is still borrowing on treasury bills, 25% and so on. Put your money there. Go to talk to some financial advisors, and then they can help you. The other thing is also in Ghana now, if you have a possibility of converting your money into dollars, convert it into dollars and open a forex account and put the money there. That's also allowed because the CD will continue to depreciate until our leaders do something better for us. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. I think before I let you and Sarah go, we have 35 days to live to lead. Just
yeah.
35 days. The whole of September on the 4th of October. So, I mean, we've talked about live to lead, but Sarah, just maybe just to rehash the point, why should somebody be in the room? Why should anybody listening to us be in the room on the 4th?
Okay, why should you be in the room? It's better for you to be there than to hear it a hearsay. One, it's 8 years now that we've been running Leave to Lead, and everybody who camps goes away with a new perspective. I remember, was it last year that there was a lady from Heritage College, and she was saying that um, I mean, the way that she was leading people, she just did her job and she did not have any interaction with her people. It's just a job. But just coming to lead, that changed her whole perspective as to how she leads people, that she knew that you just don't have to focus on the job, but people are really important. One other thing that I will say is that when you come, you have other people who've got different perspective. Just like we have seen with the rich dad, poor dad, they're seeing the same thing, but their mindset is different. So when you come and you exchange with other people with different perspective, you are networking, you are learning. And it's just a
Yeah.
short time. It's just one day. This is a whole 4 or 4 years university on the wheels. You come, it's hands on, it's experiential. You don't have to
Yeah.
read books. You listen, you interact with people, and you just imbibe. And the atmosphere is energizing. I
Yeah.
really wish I could be with you. I'm hoping, still hoping that
Yeah.
I'll be able to
Yeah.
make Ghana on the 4th of October. So if you want to
Awesome.
come and you want to see me there, please buy your ticket and you have the chance of meeting me. Okay, that is even one other
Okay.
reason why you need to
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Please come into the room. It's better to be in the room than not. What I can say is that everybody who comes to Live to Lead promises that next year I'll be there. We've never gone to Live to Lead and people have come and they say, next year I'll be here. Even for
Mm.
those that the companies pay for, they fight so that they can go again. For some of them, they pay for themselves because the company says, last year you
Yeah.
went, this year we are paying for others. And for HR people, you want your teams energized. You want your
Yeah.
teams to come with practical energy. and takeaways and ideas to perform. Please do your team a favor, do yourself a favor, bring people to Live to Lead. You would never regret. You yourself, all the HR people, even if you don't have money, come yourself. Call us, we'll bring you into the room, and then we can do a rebroadcast for you and your team afterwards. So please come. Thank you very much, Joy.
Over
All
to
right.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We've had an amazing session today. Anytime we talk about money, the room is charged up. So we just want to thank you so much, guys, for spending your Saturday evening with us. And next week, we'll be back again with some amazing sessions with you. And please, if you don't want to use the link we've shared, www.livetoleadghana.com, to register. You can have a virtual ticket. So if you're not in Ghana, you're not in Accra, you can't get your way to UPSA Auditorium, just get yourself a virtual ticket for only $79. That's about 1,250 Ghana cedis to get all access to the full session and additional 10 bonus videos from over the years. It's going to be life transforming. And then also, we're also taking registrations for Grow Journey. Grow Journey is a 10-week program based on John T. Maxwell's book, the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. So if you're looking for an opportunity to design a personal growth strategy so that you as an individual, as a person can grow, that is the program for you. So you can also send us a WhatsApp or a call on 055 or +233 55666 7718. All the details you find in the comment section. So thank you so much, everyone. We've had an amazing time. Thank you for all the takeaways and being an engaging audience. Once again, please feel free to subscribe to the channels, share the links, and this session is available on YouTube for rebroadcast. Do have a good rest of your evening, and we'll come back to you same time next week with another edition of the Leadership Platform. I was your host, Joy Bonsu-Schmutz. I'll see you again next week. Take care.
Get ready for a transformational experience at Live to Lead Ghana 2024. On October 4th, join Ghana's most influential leaders for a day that will renew your mind and change your life. John C. Maxwell will guide you on cultivating an abundance mindset. Kwame Penim will reveal how visionary leadership can drive profound societal and organizational transformation. Self-leadership with Olympian Shantelo, be empowered by her story of resilience. To business growth strategies with Brandon Dorsey and team dynamics with Malcolm Gladwell. You gain powerful insights to fuel your success. Don't miss Valerie Burton's energy renewal techniques and Akosia Bami's mindset revolution for deep personal and professional change. David Ofosudote, a reputable lawyer with the 5th largest law firm in Africa, will be speaking on transformation as a corporate strategy. Join us, transform your mindset and lead for change. Register now at livetoleadghana.com.